Here's a thought experiment for you. Line up 10 people, same city, same age bracket, same company, same designation, same salary hitting their accounts on the same date every month. Fast forward 5 years. One of them has zero car debt, a steadily growing investment portfolio, and genuinely sleeps well at night without calculating whether they can afford groceries. The other 9 are still doing that thing where they check their bank balance with one eye half shut because they're scared of the full picture. Same money, same starting line, wildly different finish. This isn't about luck. It isn't about some insider stock tip or a wealthy relative who handed them a check. It's about something far less glamorous and far more powerful. The way quietly wealthy people actually think about money. Not the ones who post their Maldives trips every weekend. The ones you'd never even guess are doing well, until you find out they quietly own 3 properties and haven't had a financial emergency in 6 years. We're going through 10 of these mental shifts today. Fair warning, some of these are going to feel like a cold shower, uncomfortable for exactly 3 seconds, and then you'll be grateful you stayed. Let's get into it. Number 1. Income and wealth are 2 completely different things, and most people never figure that out. Here's the mental model that changes everything. Picture your financial life as a bathtub. Your salary is the tap, water flowing in. Your expenses are the drain, water flowing straight out. Most people spend decades obsessing over how to make the tap run faster while the drain stays completely wide open. And no matter how fast the water comes in, if it all goes out, the tub is empty. You're not broke in the traditional sense. You're productively broke, busy, employed, exhausted, and somehow still financially nowhere. Quietly, wealthy people figured out early that the real goal isn't a bigger salary. It's assets. Things that hold value, generate returns, and grow while you're not actively doing anything. Real estate, index funds, a business that doesn't need you physically present every second. These are the plugs that keep the bathtub full. Income is the starting point. Assets are the destination. Number 2, they make money move even when they're not moving. The phrase passive income has been dragged through every multi-level marketing pitch and get-rich-quick course the internet has ever produced. It's almost embarrassing to say out loud at this point, but the concept underneath the noise is completely legitimate. Passive income doesn't mean money for zero effort, ever. It means you put in work or capital once, and that thing keeps generating returns without requiring your time on repeat. You break the link between your hours and your earnings. That's the whole idea. A finite human lifespan has a finite number of working hours. If every single rupee you earn requires you to physically show up somewhere, you've built a very expensive job, not a financial life. The goal is structure, money that operates independently of your calendar. Number 3. They are almost obsessively focused on not losing money. There's a principle that the most successful investors live by. The first priority isn't making money. It's not losing what you already have. This sounds almost boring until you do the math. Lose 50% of your capital on a bad bet, and you don't need a 50% gain to recover. You need a full 100% gain just to break even. Losses are mathematically more damaging than equivalent gains are beneficial. Quietly wealthy people understand this asymmetry at a bone-deep level. Before any financial decision, investment, business move, major purchase, the first question isn't, how much could I make? It's, how much could I lose and can I absorb that? If the answer to the second question is no, they walk away. Doesn't matter how exciting the pitch sounds. Capital preservation isn't timidity. It's sophisticated math dressed in boring clothes. Number 4. They spend extravagantly in some categories and aggressively cheap in others. Here's a scenario. Your colleague who earns exactly what you earn just spent heavily on a quality mattress, an ergonomic home office setup, and upgrades their flight on work trips. But they also drive a 7-year-old car bought outright with no loan, buy clothes during off-season sales, and bring lunch from home most days. Bad with money? Absolutely not. This is intentional spending. And it's completely different from generic budgeting advice that tells you to cut everything equally and feel miserable about it. The quietly wealthy approach is to identify what genuinely improves your output, your health, or your quality of life. Spend comfortably there and eliminate everything else with zero guilt. A great mattress and a proper desk are productivity investments if you work from home. A new phone every 12 months because it's a newer model is just money draining quietly, slowly, and invisibly. The strategy is intentionality. a deliberate gap between what comes in and what goes out. Number 5. They genuinely understand compound interest, not just the definition, the actual reality of it. Most people have heard the concept. You earn returns on your original amount, and then you earn returns on those returns. Fine. That's the textbook version. But quietly wealthy people have felt that in their gut through actually running the numbers. Here's the frame that makes it hit differently. Spending 1,000 rupees today doesn't cost you 1,000 rupees. It costs you the compounded version of that 1,000 rupees over the next 25 to 30 years. That's a figure that's multiple times larger depending on your returns. Once that reality is actually lodged in your brain, the way you look at every financial decision changes permanently. Time isn't just a factor in compounding, it's the main ingredient. Starting a year earlier matters more than people realize. Starting 10 years earlier is almost unfair. Number 6. Their lifestyle doesn't automatically grow every time their income does. You receive a salary increment. What happens next? If you're like most people, something upgrades within a few months. The apartment, the car, the dining out frequency, the streaming subscriptions, the wardrobe. Income went up. Expenses followed. Savings rate stayed identical. This is lifestyle inflation, and it's the most invisible wealth destroyer operating across the middle class. Quietly wealthy people automate a portion of every raise into investments before their lifestyle has any chance to notice it arrived. The key word is before. Because once your standard of living adjusts upward, it never voluntarily adjusts back down. The upgrade becomes the new baseline, and now you need the next increment just to maintain it. They enjoy the improvement, but only from a fraction of the raise, not all of it. Number 7. They know the difference between debt that builds and debt that destroys. Consumer debt, credit cards, buy now, pay later products, personal loans for depreciating purchases, is one of the most efficient wealth destruction mechanisms ever built. Borrow $5,000 and make minimum payments at high interest, and you'll repay nearly 3 times that amount over time. It's a machine running in the wrong direction. But quietly, wealthy people don't have a blanket fear of all debt. They distinguish sharply between debt that only costs money and debt used strategically to acquire assets that generate more than the borrowing cost. A mortgage on a cash-flowing rental property where rental income and appreciation exceed the interest rate is a completely different category from financing a television. Same word, entirely different outcome. They use leverage as a precision tool, not a lifestyle crutch. Number 8. They are completely allergic to financial urgency. The consumer economy is engineered around one core mechanism: manufactured urgency, limited time. Only a few remaining. This offer disappears tonight. Act now before it's gone. These aren't information updates. They are specifically designed to bypass your rational thinking and trigger a fear response. And they work extremely well on anyone who hasn't learned to consciously recognize them. Quietly, wealthy people almost never make financial decisions under pressure. When something is being pushed at them with aggressive urgency, that urgency itself becomes a red flag. Real wealth-building opportunities do not come with countdown timers. The faster someone is pushing you toward a financial commitment, the slower you should be moving. That inversion is worth memorizing. Number 9. They track net worth, not income. Income is the number people use to compare themselves and signal status. Net worth is the number that actually tells you where you stand. Assets minus liabilities. What you own minus what you owe. Home equity, investments, savings, business value. Minus outstanding loans, credit card balances, and every other financial obligation. 2 people earning the same salary can have dramatically different net worth figures based entirely on their choices. Quietly wealthy people stopped measuring themselves by their paycheck a long time ago. They track the real number, and that shift alone changes which financial decisions they prioritize. Number 10. They invest in their ability to earn as seriously as they invest their money. Human capital compounds exactly the way financial capital does. The right skill, developed at the right time, can generate a return that no index fund can match, especially in the earlier stages of a career when investable capital is limited anyway. Quietly wealthy people read obsessively, pursue mentors deliberately, and treat money spent on genuine skill development as a high-return investment rather than an expense. The sequence they follow is straightforward. Build earning power early. Convert that into financial capital consistently. Let the financial capital compound over time. Human capital in, financial capital out, financial capital compounded into lasting wealth. None of this requires a finance degree, a wealthy family, or a perfect starting position. It requires a shift in thinking, followed by consistent behavior that reflects that shift. The information gap between where most people are and where they want to be financially is usually small. The behavior gap is enormous. If even one of these 10 shifts landed for you today, if one of them is going to change how you look at a single financial decision tomorrow, then share this video with someone who needs to hear it. Hit like so more people find it, and subscribe.